What if the reason your life keeps feeling the same has less to do with what is happening around you, and more to do with the state your brain has learned to live in? You may believe you are making decisions freely. You may believe you are looking at your possibilities objectively. You may even believe you are trying to create a different future. But if your nervous system is still waiting for something to go wrong, your brain may be doing something completely different. It may be trying to protect you from the very future you say you want. And the strange part is that you may not even realize it. Because survival mode does not always look like panic. Sometimes it looks like overthinking. Sometimes it looks like constantly checking your phone, replaying conversations, expecting disappointment, trying to control what will happen tomorrow, feeling guilty when you rest, preparing for problems that have not happened, or waking up already thinking about everything you need to fix. Eventually, this can begin to feel normal, but normal does not necessarily mean natural. Your brain evolved with one extraordinary priority: keep you alive. Imagine one of your distant ancestors walking through an unfamiliar landscape. A sound appears behind the trees. There is no time for philosophical reflection, no time for creativity, no time to imagine 10 possible futures. The nervous system must answer one question immediately. Is this safe? If the answer might be no, attention narrows. The heart beats faster. The body becomes alert. Resources are directed toward immediate survival. Everything that does not matter right now becomes secondary. This system is brilliant when danger is real. The problem begins when the danger exists primarily in thought. Your body does not experience your life through language. It experiences signals. And a vividly imagined threat can produce some of the same internal alarm signals as an immediate one. You can be sitting safely inside your home while your mind is living 6 months into the future. What if I lose the job? What if the relationship ends? What if the money runs out? What if I fail? What if something happens? Nothing is attacking you in the room, yet your body may still be preparing for battle. And this creates one of the strangest features of the human mind. We can activate survival without the predator being present. Sometimes we do not even need a predator. We only need a memory. Think about the last time someone hurt you. If you replay the event vividly enough, notice what happens. Your jaw may tighten. Your breathing may change. Your shoulders may tense. The event may have happened years ago, but for a few moments, your body behaves as though some part of it is still happening now. This is where survival begins to shape reality. Because the state you repeatedly occupy changes what you notice. When your brain expects danger, it becomes exceptionally good at finding evidence of danger. An unanswered message suddenly feels significant. A small change in someone's tone feels suspicious. A mistake becomes proof that everything is falling apart. An uncertain future becomes a threatening future. Your perception narrows. Not because reality has necessarily become worse, but because your brain has changed what information deserves your attention. And attention is powerful. At every moment, an enormous amount of information surrounds you. Sounds, faces, possibilities, patterns, opportunities, risks, memories, sensations. Your conscious awareness cannot process all of it equally. Something has to be selected, and your current internal state helps decide what gets through. If you are calm, you may notice options. If you are curious, you may notice connections. If you are afraid, you notice threats. This means two people can enter the same situation and experience two very different realities. One sees uncertainty and thinks, perhaps something new is beginning. The other sees the same uncertainty and thinks, something bad is coming. The external world may be identical. The internal filter is not. This is why survival mode can become a self-reinforcing loop. You expect danger, so you notice danger. Because you notice danger, you feel more stress. Because you feel more stress, your attention becomes even more focused on danger. And now the world seems to confirm what you already believed. Eventually, the nervous system begins to prefer one thing above almost everything else: the familiar, even when the familiar is uncomfortable. This sounds irrational until you remember the brain's primary question. Not, will this make me happy? But, do I know how to survive this? The known can feel safer than the unknown simply because you have experienced it before. This is why people sometimes stay inside patterns they consciously say they want to leave. The same arguments, the same kinds of relationships, the same habits, the same emotional reactions, the same fears, the same story about who they are. The pattern may hurt, but the nervous system recognizes it, and recognition can easily be mistaken for safety. Now something even more subtle happens. The past begins predicting the future. You wake up and your brain uses yesterday to prepare you for today. You remember who disappointed you, what went wrong, what you fear, what you need to defend against. And before anything new has happened, the emotional chemistry of yesterday has already returned. Then you enter today carrying the state of the past. You respond from it. You make decisions from it. You interpret people through it. And by the evening, you may have created another day that feels strangely familiar. Then you call it reality. But part of what you are experiencing may actually be repetition. This is one reason changing circumstances without changing your internal pattern can be frustrating. You can change jobs and bring the same fear with you. Change relationships and bring the same defenses. Move to another city and carry the same identity. Earn more money and still live with the feeling that there will never be enough. Change the environment without changing the filter, and eventually the new environment may begin to feel like the old one. Because the brain is not only observing reality, it is constantly predicting it. Your perception is influenced by what your nervous system expects to find. So what does it mean to move out of survival? It does not mean pretending problems do not exist. It does not mean becoming positive every second. And it certainly does not mean never feeling fear. Survival responses are necessary. The goal is not to eliminate them. The goal is to stop living there permanently. There is a very different mental state that becomes possible when your brain no longer believes every moment is an emergency. Attention begins to widen. You start seeing more than the problem. This is where creativity returns. Think about the last time you were deeply relaxed. Maybe you were walking, taking a shower, looking at the ocean, sitting quietly before everyone else woke up, and suddenly an idea appeared. Why did it arrive then? Perhaps because for a moment you stopped forcing an answer. Your attention was no longer locked onto the problem. It had space. This matters because a brain obsessed with immediate survival asks, how do I prevent something bad? A creative brain asks, what else might be possible? Those two questions produce entirely different worlds. Survival searches for certainty. Creation can tolerate mystery. Survival says, show me proof first. Creation says, perhaps there is something here I have not seen yet. Survival repeats. Creation experiments. And this brings us to one of the most important shifts you can practice. Become aware of the moment your mind begins predicting danger. Do not immediately fight the thought. Observe it. There is a difference between thinking, everything is going to go wrong, and noticing, my mind is predicting that everything will go wrong. That small distance matters, because the moment you can observe a thought, you are no longer completely inside it. You have created space, and in that space, another possibility becomes available. Ask yourself, is there an immediate threat right now? Not tomorrow, not next month, not in the imagined conversation playing inside your head. Right now, you may discover that your body is responding to a future that does not yet exist. Then bring attention back to what is actually here. Your breathing, the room, the sounds around you, the physical sensation of sitting or standing. This is not about escaping reality. It is about returning to the reality that exists before your predictions are added to it. Then comes the next step. Change the question. Instead of asking, "What could go wrong?" ask, "What am I not seeing because I am afraid?" That question can radically change your attention. Maybe there is another interpretation, another opportunity, another conversation you could have, another response, another path. The option may have been there all along, but a nervous system in survival may not have considered it relevant. And then there is the hardest step, becoming comfortable with not knowing. The unknown terrifies the survival mind because it cannot be controlled. But every genuinely new experience exists in the unknown. A relationship you have never experienced, a business you have never built, a version of yourself you have never become, a decision you have never made, a possibility you have never explored. The new cannot be completely familiar. If it were familiar, it would already belong to your past. So perhaps the unknown is not always a threat. Perhaps sometimes it is simply territory your brain has not mapped yet. This changes the meaning of uncertainty. Instead of saying, "I do not know what will happen, and that is dangerous," you can begin to say, "I do not know what will happen, so more than one future is still possible." Notice how different that feels. The facts may not have changed, but the relationship between you and the facts has. And that relationship affects what you do next. You may speak differently, notice differently, choose differently, act differently, persist longer, walk away sooner, take an opportunity you previously would have ignored, and eventually those different choices begin producing different outcomes. This is how your inner state shapes your reality without needing anything mystical to happen. Your state influences your attention. Your attention influences your interpretation. Your interpretation influences your choices. Your choices influence your behavior, and your behavior influences what happens next. But there may also be something deeper happening psychologically. When you stop living entirely from defense, you rediscover parts of yourself that survival had pushed into the background. Curiosity, imagination, play, connection, empathy, wonder, the ability to sit with uncertainty without immediately trying to destroy it. You begin responding instead of constantly reacting. And slowly, life becomes larger. Not necessarily because every problem disappears, but because problems are no longer the only things your brain knows how to see. That distinction changes everything. Maybe you have spent years believing you need to fix your entire life before you can finally feel safe. But what if the order sometimes works the other way around? What if learning to create moments of internal safety allows you to finally see ways of changing your life that were invisible while you were afraid? Maybe this is why forcing change can sometimes create more resistance. You are trying to build a new future using the emotional state of the old one, trying harder, controlling more, predicting more, thinking more, and wondering why nothing feels different. Perhaps the question is not only, what do I need to change? Perhaps another question belongs before it. Who am I being while I try to change it? Am I approaching my future as something I need to defend myself from? Or as something I am willing to discover? Your brain will always have a survival system. You need it. But it was never meant to become your entire identity. You were built to respond to danger, You were also built to learn, imagine, connect, explore, create. And perhaps one of the greatest shifts in consciousness happens when you realize that being alive is not the same thing as constantly preparing for what might threaten your life. Sometimes the next version of you begins in a very quiet moment, a moment when the body stops running, the mind stops predicting, the future becomes uncertain again. And instead of interpreting that uncertainty as danger, you recognize it for what it may also be, possibility. So tonight or tomorrow morning, catch yourself when your mind begins rehearsing the worst possible future. Notice it. Do not judge it. Your brain is trying to protect you. But then ask one simple question. What becomes possible when I no longer have to predict everything? Stay with that question. Because the reality you experience tomorrow may begin changing long before the outside world does. It may begin the moment you stop seeing every unknown as something to survive,